So yesterday an incident happened that kind of jolted me back to reality as I was out and about with my son, my 10-year-old son on the autism spectrum. So as usual, as our part of our Friday routines, after school we were on our way to the ice cream store where we usually have our, weekly part of our routines. Every Friday we go for a celebratory ice cream treat for my kids. It was myself, my son, my 10-year-old son, and my 5-year-old neurotypical daughter. And so as I parked the car, they walked ahead of me into the ice cream store. And I was just, I was slowly walking behind them because, like things like this haven't happened. We've been having very peaceful outings outdoor lately. There hasn't been so much. So, I was really just relaxed, strolling quietly behind them. But as I entered into the ice cream store, I realized something happened that I had missed before I walked in there. And I met this man. He was furious about something my son did, like the way he just jerked him, like pulled him back, like, and he was complaining that my son stepped on, pushed them, and pushed the little kids that he had with him. I don't know, he was a bit elderly, so I don't know if they were his kids or his grandkids. Anyway, he was really mad. And as I approached them, I gently, I empathized with him and I apologized. I pulled my son towards me, like, stop him from going back to where the kids were, because they were apparently, it was their turn to be attended to by the ice cream attendant. But my son was anxious, and he was really anxious, and he just pushed it. And to be honest, he didn't even notice, like he didn't realize that he did that. And so when the man was like, he was really furious, letting it out, and I tried to explain to him. The first time he shrugged me off, and he was just like, he wasn't having the explanation, and he was still trying to, I could see his emotions and his expressions, like my son just pushed the kids and all of that. And these kids were like, they were familiar faces actually from from their school. And they're like same age with my 5-year-old daughter, though they had smaller frames, so I can understand. They were little kids, and all you could see was a grown-up boy pushing his way, bullying his way, or like that's how it will seem to any normal person, without the understanding that my son was on the spectrum. So I tried to explain the second time. He also still wasn't having it with my explanation, and I don't even know what was going on in my mind at that point, to be honest, because when I got home I felt like I kind of blanked out in between trying to explain, and he kept shrugging me off, and I felt really bad. But I was also focusing on my kids. I was there with my kids. I was also focusing on my son because he was also going through something at that period. So I held on to my son. I tried to get him to calm down with his anxiety. We did some deep breaths, and we also started to, I encouraged him to, like, let's count, and I started to, rock him and just try to, focus on him, and also managing his anxiety in that moment. So I think that really helped me to, like, just focus on my son. And this is what I do often when nowadays, when things happen like this and we encounter incidents like this. So while we were there, I tried to explain for the third time again. While I was calming my son, I tried to explain for the third time again, and this time around he caught on, because he wasn't even paying attention to what I was saying. Like I was trying to, like, he's on the spectrum, but he didn't give me the chance for those first two attempts. So he finally caught on the word, and he stopped, and then his expression changed, and he showed understanding. He came to me and apologized. Oh, now I understand. I'm so sorry. I reacted this way. And he apologized. And I was like, oh, it's fine. And it really, and it's just made me feel much calmer. But I was still, like, attending to my kids. And so we got the ice cream. And on our way out, he came back to meet me again. This time around, he was very, very emotional and empathetic towards me. He kind of he was awkward, but he gave me a pat on my shoulder, and then he apologized sincerely. And this time around he spoke English. Like, we've been he spoke English, and he really apologized to me that he didn't understand. And so here's the thing about it: we've been meeting with this family. They are like us, also have this routine. So we've been meeting each other for the past few weeks. Every Friday we meet each other at the ice cream store, but they never noticed anything different about my son, because no one would notice it. And that's the thing about our children with invisible challenges like this. The those challenges that you do not see. It's not physical. People say, oh, he doesn't look this, he looks normal, he looks like every neurotypical. Yes, that is how kids under autism look like. It is only when you pay attention to certain behaviors that you'll be able to understand this, because this family has been meeting with us every week, and nothing like this they've never ever suspected. So I'm sure the man has always seen us, and didn't expect that. So it was just thinking that this kind of was just being stubborn, and all of that. But eventually, when he realized it, I'm glad that he was able to come around. But he kind of, like I said, jolted me back to reality earlier on, because for me, it's been quite peaceful lately. It's not like completely, but coming from where we are coming from, like, it's been a whole lot peaceful, especially dealing with the outdoors. And also because, yes, I'm emotionally, I'm in that stage whereby a lot of things that people say or do not affect me anymore as it used to back in the days when I was starting on this journey as a mom, with a child on the autism spectrum. So, and then, but it also kind of put in that fear in me. I thought about so many things. Imagine him being older. I guess the man would have even had it even rougher with him. He must have, things, the misunderstanding could have escalated before you really understood that my son was on the spectrum. And it was a very scary thought for me, having, because my son is big. Like, people see him, he's 10, but they see him and they assume he's already like 12 or 13. And so that kind of also makes it more difficult as our children are growing up. I think there's going to be more challenges for people, especially when incidents like this happen, and the first impression they will is like, this person has no manners. But the whole reason why yesterday was different was this. Also, I needed to also mention this, because this is also a kind of way of spreading awareness. His anxiety was due to two things. Yes, he was really anxious, looking forward to, because it's a Friday thing, so he's been looking forward to this ice cream treat from Monday. And secondly, the ice cream store moved to a new location. This is a new environment for him, so it kind of heightened the anxiety for him to he wants to be sure that his usual ice cream is still there. He wants to explore the environment. He wants to, so there was a lot of things apparently going on in his mind that we could not see, no one could see, but I could sense that he was really unusually anxious. And I was also able to calm him and offer him the emotional support that he needed to regulate his anxiety at that point, which I'm also kind of grateful also for that incident, because it's when things like this happen, it makes you to appreciate what we are, like, where we are coming from. Like I said earlier on, this used to happen very often in the past, but nowadays we don't have a lot of people, mostly because a lot of people also know that he's on the spectrum. But these were the things that came to my mind yesterday when I was going through the reflection of what happened. And it kind of like felt, it was really I felt affected by it. Like I said, I've been just thinking about it. I do not pray and hope that this will continue till he gets older, but I'm also now looking at ways on how to work with my son in a way that he's able to understand this. Now, when it comes to children on the autism spectrum as well, I need to also emphasize that sometimes waiting can be a very difficult task for them. Also, they do not, when they focus on something, like when they want something, they want it at that time. My son wasn't really thinking about everything people that he didn't even realize that he stepped on anyone or pushed anyone, because his whole entire focus was all on what he wanted, the ice cream, and that's it. And I'll give an example. It's just like basically like, you know, when you're concentrating, like you're watching a movie and you're so focused or you're so concentrated on it, and someone is talking to you and they're like talking and you're just not hearing them. Not that you're ignoring them, but you literally can't hear them because you're entirely focused on something, which all happens often with me as well. Like I'm like thinking about something or I'm doing something and you're talking to me, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, I've been talking to you. But that's literally how it is for some of our children, because he's standing right there, but the situation awareness is not there. He doesn't even understand. I'm sure he didn't even see those kids, because my son is a very kind person and he has a little one. He can be, you know, caring and understanding, but he did not see them because of what he was focusing on entirely. But like I said, I'm sharing this because I believe that there's someone out there, you know, who needs to hear this. Also to, you know, encourage moms, especially, yes, some of us that like to, you know, keep our children indoors. I know that it is challenging outdoors, but one other thing that I want to be that I was grateful for yesterday was the fact that we never stopped going out. We continue to go out. We are still going out, and to be honest, a lot of things have changed. There's been a lot of reduction in some of the outdoors behaviors that we experience, and also in the way people attend to us. And also me myself personally, if I wasn't going out with him, I won't be able to, you know, handle my emotions better. I won't be able to choose my focus and just, you know, whatever is happening, blank out the environment, the people, their gaze, their talking, their, you know, those uncomfortable stares or the remarks, and just focus on my son. And this has been the most helpful thing for me, and I'm so grateful to where I am today on this journey. I'm so grateful for these experiences. It was a mixture of good and bad. I was really happy at the end of the day, the fact that he came and he showed empathy. Sometimes some people don't even care, to be honest. Sometimes some people will just be like, yes, and so what? That didn't give him the right day, just because. And also I understand also because it's coming from a place of lack of understanding and lack of knowledge. So before we do anything, I think this is another thing. Before we do anything, let's try to also put ourselves in these people's shoes, because they do not know better, and just give them and like I, you know, I kind of just gave the man that benefit of doubt, because I know he did not know, and I'm glad that it turned out the way it was yesterday. And basically sharing this with the hope that it could be helpful for anyone, and also for some of you who are quick to judge parents, label a child as being stubborn, or label a child as being a bad manner or irresponsible or something. You know, just be patient, try to understand what is going on, trying to understand the child, try to understand that there are some children who are going through so many things that you cannot see visibly, because they are these challenges are invisible, not to others. Thank you very much. I do hope you learned one or two things from this, and I hope also that you'll be able to share this with someone who needs to hear this today. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye bye.